Several weeks into the Reaper War, Hackett requested for Shepard to meet with a Systems Alliance researcher, Dr. Garrick Bryson, head of Task Force Aurora and in charge of investigating anything that could be found about the Reapers, fact or fiction, after his team had reached a potential breakthrough. However, shortly after Shepard met up with him, an artifact inflicted one of the team with an effect similar to indoctrination, which placed Shepard at step 1 with little help after the assistant killed Bryson. Putting together what few clues could be found, Shepard and ED found a path that led them on a chase across various distant locations across the galaxy, following up on their leads whenever the war gave them a chance to breathe. This journey ended at an ocean world that held the last of the Leviathans, the ancient race responsible for creating the Reapers. After a conversation with Shepard, they chose to join the fight for the first time in what must have been at least millions of years, but only with the intention of re-establishing their original place at the top of the galaxy. Afterwards, they allowed for their enthrallment devices to be turned against a variety of Reaper husks. Unfortunately, with the concern that the Reapers would find a way to counter it, and how late into the war Leviathan was eventually found, these artifacts saw little use. In the wider galaxy, reports of collector ships separate from the Reapers were discovered as they began entering the galaxy as a second wave of sorts, also bringing back some of the unique horrors Shepard had to face when fighting them. While the Reapers commanding these collectors were capable of assuming direct control, like Sovereign and Harbinger had done, the downsides of this approach that had led to the Sovereign's demise had been eliminated, and the ability itself had expanded beyond the collectors and to the regular husks alongside them. However, not only did Shepard's experiences make those fighting them better prepared, but a handful of collectors would also be turned against the Reapers by Leviathan's enthrallment devices. The collectors that survived this process would go on to be termed as awakened collector adepts, which began to fight with the same ferocity as the Protheans. On a more straightforward diversion, Shepard teamed up with Aria once her plan to retake Omega Station was ready to be enacted. Besieging the space station, Aria rapidly landed her mercenary army to establish a foothold, from which she brought together those left behind, such as an old associate, Nyreen Kandros, who had been leading the Talons as part of a resistance group. Initially, the battles consisted of small-scale skirmishes involving Aria, Shepard and Nyreen, followed by Cerberus counter-attacks. However, once Shepard disabled the shield wall set up by Cerberus, the entire station rose up against their occupiers. This reckless straightforwardness may have resulted in high losses, including Nyreen when she took out the last of the adjutant husks, but it did ultimately retake Aria's home, its resources given over to Shepard's cause, although Aria was forced to return to the Citadel regularly for the sake of coordinating all of her resources, while the Talons acted as a security force to honour Nyreen's memory. Along with a handful of Talons joining the wider fight, Aria's fleet was dedicated to Hackett's cause, initially saving an Alliance fleet it had been sent to rendezvous with from a Reaper attack, and later going on to establish a reputation against Cerberus forces. With resources gathered to bolster the pre-existing fleets, Shepard turned her attention to getting them reinforcements, sending the Normandy towards the Perseus Vale.